everyone. Thank you for joining me today on the Divine Messages podcast. My name is Karina and I'm a psychic medium out of Calgary, Alberta. Today's episode is all about the fear of not having enough money. This topic comes up with so many of my clients, especially when I would be doing Reiki and working on their lower back. So I would pick up a pain in that area and I would say to them, like, you have lower back pain, don't you? And they would say that the pain was horrible or so awful. And I would tell them, you're afraid of not having enough money, aren't you? And they would be shocked, but they would actually agree. As I've said in the Reiki episode, physical pain in our bodies comes from something that we are not properly dealing with, such as our fears. Now let me take you back to about 23 years ago when I met my husband. At the time, I was working at a little restaurant, not making very much money, but I was a saver. I was pretty careful with my spending, and I had a decent amount saved up in my bank account. Nick was working at a book warehouse, making okay money as well. He had never really traveled outside of the country, and I remember I had asked him to go on a trip with me to Costa Rica, as I used to live there with my family for a short time and loved it so much. That trip sparked a little fire in him for traveling. We started booking trips all over and trying to just enjoy our time together. He also fell in love with Costa Rica so much that a few times we would work our butts off, save every single penny, and then take off for months at a time. We had enough money in the bank to hold us for about 6 months there, and then we would move back home and do it all over again. We worked hard, but we played even harder. We were together for 10 years without kids, and so we spent our money on us, but also banked a good amount. Then I got pregnant and decided to move across Canada from Ontario to Calgary so that I could be a stay-at-home mom. And the job that Nick got out here supplemented my income, so it only made sense for us to do it. We sold our home in Ontario, and instead of making money, we came out here with debt. And I think that's where we sort of went downhill. Life just all of a sudden became so expensive, but it was also partly our fault, because even though we had a baby, we still wanted to take our usual trips. And we did, but the credit cards just kept racking up. Then we had our second son, and the debt just kept getting bigger and bigger. A friend of mine told me to watch the movie about the law of attraction, and we did. And we started to manifest little things, but our worries about our debt were much stronger than our belief in financial abundance. We were constantly worrying, complaining, and even panicking about our bills. We were almost cursing the universe because the debt just kept continuing to build. We would compare ourselves to others and think we should be much farther ahead financially than we were. The thing is, we didn't want to compromise our lifestyle. Neither of us cared for fancy clothes or things, but we did enjoy our expensive holidays. We ended up in financial trouble and had to make a decision as to whether we claim bankruptcy or do consolidated debt. And I remember that horrible feeling that both of us had. It was that feeling like we had failed. And so we chose to do consolidated debt. We needed to find a way to get ourselves out of it. So I started to hustle. I started babysitting, cleaning houses, catering, buying and selling garage sale items, and making crafts to sell online. Basically, anything I could do to make money. And we did bust our butts off to start paying off our debt and our bills. We decided to move out of our townhome and rent it out because the kids were running out onto a busy road daily and scaring the heck out of me. So we ended up renting a larger house that was way more expensive. But we did just keep hustling and trying to pay for it. Even though we were working ourselves to death, the bills just never seemed to go down. And then I took my Reiki course, even though it was a lot of money for us at the time. But I knew that I needed to do it because I was desperate to heal my life. And then I slowly started to realize that I really needed to start using the law of attraction to help our financial situation. I remember one particular night where we had gone to a hockey game, and we had joked about using the law of attraction to win the 50-50. We said to each other, okay, let's try this and see what happens. Well, we bought a few tickets and tried hard to focus on seeing and feeling that big win. So when they announced the winning numbers on the big screen, we literally almost passed out. We were only one number away from winning. One number away from winning almost $50,000. I think actually it was over $50,000. It was a big amount. I remember we looked at each other and we weren't upset at all. We were almost just sitting there in disbelief. We had almost manifested a huge win. But when we actually talked about it later, we both admitted that we had doubt in our minds and that winning just wasn't part of our journey. But what it did teach us was that if we truly believed in something without doubt, without fear, that we could manifest what we desired. And so we decided that we were going to start with little things to see if it really worked. We would manifest a perfect parking spot at the busiest Costco, and it worked. It was crazy. It actually worked. Then we slowly moved on to bigger things, and one of those big things was selling our townhome. It had been on the market for way too long, and the sad part was that it had been completely damaged by our renters. The night before we were going to take it off the market, we received an offer that we couldn't refuse. And so the law of attraction worked again. It was what we focused on, but also we believed in it. We envisioned it selling and relieving us of that financial burden. And when we were about to lose faith, it magically sold. It was one of those moments that we truly thanked the universe for. It was then that we saw how to manifest what we needed. From that day on, life started to change. We started to see that if we needed something, we could ask the universe for it and put out our request and let it go with full faith and trust that it would actually happen. From there, I started to work more and more as a healer, and I gave everyone my whole heart and help, and the universe kept helping me back. We slowly, and I say slowly, paid off our consolidated debt and continued to work harder than ever. And before we knew it, we were in a good financial position for the first time in years. Now, I wanted to do this episode about the fear of not having enough money, because what I have learned over the years is that money is just an energy, and just like anything, you can attract it to you if you believe it. So you may ask, well, how do I do that? That's what I'm going to try to help you with right now and get you into a different mindset. So let's go through a small checklist of the ideas that I think will help. Number 1, stop saying that you are bad with money by overspending or accumulating debt. So we used to check our bills and bank account daily, and that fear would creep in and almost a sense of panic as that happened and our debt became worse and worse. So if you're sitting there every single day and you're saying, oh my goodness, the bills are getting worse, I have no money, oh, I shouldn't have spent that, I spent too much, and you're beating yourself up about it, that is going to keep you in debt because you're not trusting that there's abundance coming to you. Number 2, stop comparing yourself to others and what they have. We each have our own individual journeys, and we must only focus on ourselves and manifest what is meant for us. So be happy for others' success. Be truly, truly happy for them, because that energy will return to you. Say to yourself, you deserve the same, and you will have the same. This simple shift from jealousy to hopeful positivity will change how money flows into your life. Number 3, feel deserving of abundance in all forms. Start using positive affirmations about your finances. So saying things like, I deserve all the money that I will make. I deserve abundance in all forms. Money is flowing freely to me. Once we get into that mindset and using those positive affirmations about our finances, things shift. And I know this because all I ever did before was curse what we didn't have. And I just felt like this was our life. There was no way out of it. I just felt like we were going to continuously be in debt and working our butts off and never getting anywhere until I changed my mindset and the words that I used. So now I constantly will say, money is flowing to us. It's just an energy. Remember that. You can bring it to you. Number 4, visualize success. So you must start to see yourself living the life that you want. And I tell everybody, make a list of your desires, write it out, and sleep with it under your pillow. But you must see it as if those desires have already happened, because otherwise we put that hope out there that this is what I really, really want, but you almost have that fear that it's not going to happen, and then it doesn't happen. So you have to visualize that it's already so. And that's why I say writing it out on a piece of paper is wonderful. It puts that request to the universe. You sleep with it under your pillow. It's like saying, even when you put your head down at night, it's a good reminder that it's there. This is what I want for my life. And that's how things shift. Number 5, give more away. So that could be time, money, energy, advice, or affection. The more that you really do give, the more that you shall receive. So giving raises your vibration, which in turn attracts more positive energy to you. Simple, right? Number 6, and this is the most important one of all, and I know I talk about this all the time, but I feel it's so, so important. It is all about gratitude. What are you grateful for? Because that was our problem back in the day. I could have easily looked around and been grateful for all the blessings that I did have. We had, nice furniture. We had beautiful, healthy children. We lived in a safe, secure home. All of those things that I took for granted because I was too busy cursing what we didn't have. And I was bitter. And I kept working and working and working and thinking, I'm exhausted. Why is this not changing? But it was my attitude that wasn't changing our shift or shifting our lives in any way. And so once I acknowledged that gratitude really does change everything, I started applying it in my daily life. So I actually have, gratitude journals around the home. So when I feel guided to, I will write out all the things that I truly am grateful for, whether that be I took a hot shower this morning, or I was able to have 5 minutes to myself, or the sun was shining on my face. Whatever it is, even if it's so small or even something that's so big, be grateful for it. Show the universe that you actually are grateful for what you do have, and that's when more comes to you. So when it comes to money, instead of, like back in the day where I would be cursing the empty bank account, now I say whatever money's in the account, I'm so grateful for that money. And somehow more keeps appearing. So hopefully that makes sense about how to change your mindset to get into that flow of abundance. I hope this episode helps you to stop worrying about money. I hope that you can understand that money really is just an energy. And when you change your mindset, you really do change your life. I know that a lot of people will say that it's just not meant for them, they don't have a good enough job, or they can't get their bills down or anything. Yep, I was that person. And here I am today feeling so, trusting of the universe, because I never fear that money isn't there for me anymore. If I need something, I ask the universe for it, and I let go. I don't try to hold on to that thought and worry about how it's coming and when it's going to come. I just say, this is what I need. I'm so grateful for what I have. Thank you. And next thing I know, it shows up out of nowhere. So I really hope that you can all get going and start manifesting this abundance in your life. You have to believe that it is so. So I want to thank you all so much for being with me on the Divine Messages podcast today. Please bear in mind that the perspectives and opinions represented in this podcast are based solely on the Divine Messages interpretations. We can in no way be held responsible for the actions of our followers.